Good evening, everyone. You're in the spotlight with Brian Garner for this Tuesday. Well, not Tuesday anymore. It's now Wednesday, October 24th, 2018. It was supposed to be Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018, but we are on the air incredibly late tonight. I want to apologize for that. It's been a long day and now night. A lot of things going on between car issues and bunch of other things going on. I do apologize. If it wasn't our last show before the hiatus, and if I had some time tomorrow, I would have said, well, let's just cancel the show and do it tomorrow, or just bypass it, and then I would do it on Thursday. But we are on hiatus starting on Thursday, so with that in mind, we just couldn't do it, so we had to get this show in. I was very bad about letting you all know about this delay on Facebook and Twitter, so my apologies. I've been really bad about that, and that's on me, so I do apologize profusely for that. Thankfully, many of you just hang out and wait. Some of you send me messages on message boards and everything, and just go, hey, what's going on? So, and then people just kind of hang out, and I guess, they get notifications when the show hits the air, so that's how you kind of know what's going on with us. But still, I should let you all know, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, my apologies for being so late tonight. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on, and like I said, a lot of issues and such. So my apologies for that. It is kind of cool that I don't think we've ever done. I mean, we've started shows at like 9, 10 o'clock and gone past midnight, but to have the show start around midnight, we've never really done that before. And again, circumstances as why we're doing it, but we've never done it like this before, so it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So, yeah, here we are. Now, this is not going to be the longest show in the world, because of the timing and everything else. But we do have a lot of stuff to get to, particularly in football, because we got a preview. Not only do we have to discuss what's transpired, what transpired last weekend, but we have to look ahead to what's coming up this weekend and look ahead to next weekend as well. So we almost have to do 2 weeks worth of stuff. So we will do that. We'll make some picks for this week and next week. We'll do that in NFL. We'll also look at college football, what's coming up next few weeks. College football playoff rankings will come out next week, so we won't be around for the first wave of them, but we will obviously discuss them, when we get back. We got baseball to discuss. World Series Game 1 taking place tonight. We'll talk about that. It'll probably be finishing up in the beginning part of our show, but we'll talk about that too. And we'll also talk about Roman Reigns, even though we didn't plan it. We don't usually do wrestling. We've lately wrestling on Tuesdays. It's a big story, and it's been covered a lot today, so we have to talk about before we go on the hiatus, I think. So, yeah, so we will talk about the Roman Reigns situation. And also, I didn't put this in the show system, but, it looks like Crown Jewel could end up WWE Crown Jewel could end up moving to a different venue. So we'll talk a little bit about that quickly as well. So we're going to, we got a lot of stuff to get through, but we're going to try to get through it quickly. Again, we don't want to be on the air too long because it is very late, and I know a lot of you have stayed up with us tonight. So we just want to get down to business and kind of just hurry along and, not waste much time and that kind of thing. So, all right, so what we'll do is we'll start in football because that's where we have the most stuff to do, and then we'll work our way around and get and do that and get everything else in. So we will start with the NFL, and now that we're a quarter of the way, and I'll talk about all the other stuff, reminders and all that kind of stuff. Not reminders, stuff about the schedule, what's going to happen after we get through. After we get through this hiatus, how everything's going to work, all that stuff, I'll talk about later on in the show. I just want to get going and get moving on everything. So, all right. So as always, as I start the show, I remind you all of the ways which you can interact and contribute to our show. Have your voice heard by emailing us at itspotlight411@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight411. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 411 on Facebook. And make sure that you like our fan page once you find it or once you're on, so you can interact with us and all that good stuff. All right. So again, we'll start off with the NFL. Now that we're a quarter of the way through that second part of this, not quarter way, halfway through that second portion of the season, where everybody's kind of like, hey, we're coming together, we're trying to get ourselves in a good position, see what we're at this year. If you're a team that's not going to be in it, do you start trading off assets? What do you do you start going to a younger quarterback? What do you do? Right? That's what this second portion of the season's about. Week 7, you're halfway through it. And you got only to week 8 for the trade deadline. Some teams, come out of this weekend, and we've already seen it where they've made decisions. You see, the Giants today traded. God, I'm blanking on his name. Good Lord. God, why can't I think of his name? Eli Apple to the Saints. There's some talk they could even move Eli Manning next week. You're seeing Oakland make some more deals. Amari Cooper goes to the Cowboys. You're seeing some teams, realize, hey, we're not in it. I mean, the Raiders were never in it. They traded Khalil Mack before week 1. So it's I don't think they ever thought they were in it, but that's kind of what happens. This time of year you start to look at things and are you in it or not? The Giants thought they were going to be in it. Second year in a row they thought they were going to be in it, and they're not. Now are they taking on no? And look, here's the thing for the Giants. The division's still there for them because nobody's running away with this division. It's kind of a crapshoot at this point. So it's a difficult position for them to be in because at the same time, what do you do? Do there's a potential chance you could maybe with a little bit of a run win this division, but how far do you go in the playoffs even if you get in? See, and that's the thing I think you have to be careful of here because you see this in baseball time too. Well, okay, we can win the division, we can make the playoffs, but is this going to hold back our rebuild? Are we deluding ourselves here? Okay, so what? We win the division, but we go into the first round of the playoffs and get knocked out. Is that really worth it? Holding yourselves back as a franchise one more year? See, my opinion is this. It's not enough to just make the playoffs. I think, especially in the NFL, you have to look at two things. Okay, can we make the playoffs, number one? Number two, can we make a run? Can we potentially get to the big one? Because we can't. Don't bother. Don't bother wasting your time as a franchise, holding yourself back. I mean, look, if you're a team that's got, many, many more years left on your window, you got a quarterback that's still in his prime and, you got a lot of pieces around, you're going to be competitive for next few years, then you don't worry about it. But if you're a team that's on the fringe, like the Giants are, even like Oakland, where a couple years ago they were a playoff team and now they're not. You look at it and go, okay, we have quarterbacks that maybe we don't want to stick with. We have other players that maybe we don't want to stick with. You have to make a decision. Do you keep these guys and just say, maybe we have just to say we have a chance to make the playoffs? Do you keep, or do you say, you know what? Yeah, we might be able to make the playoffs, but our chances of winning a Super Bowl, they're not that good. Why? We're better off just going all in on a young quarterback or going all in on a youth movement, moving this guy, getting some picks, and then building for next year and beyond. That's what you have to decide. That's what the second portion of the schedule is about for a lot of teams. And for the teams that are in it and have a realistic shot, it's about putting your best foot forward and putting yourself in position. And a lot of teams did that in week 7. A lot of teams did that. A lot of teams. The Patriots continued their big run. They beat the Bears 33, and Bears have kind of really fallen down to earth over these last couple weeks. Really fallen down to earth. And, it was a close game, 38-31, but, and Brady's been playing ridiculous well, and so has Mitchell Trubisky for the Bears. But the Patriots just found a way to get it done. It was a well-played game, I thought, by both teams. Patriots is finding a way to get it done. They got weapons now. Edelman's back, they got Gronkowski. They got Gordon. I mean, they got weapons now, and look, the Patriots are going to be in the AFC title game. We knew that before the season even started. They will be in the AFC title game. The AFC is theirs until they're beaten. We know that. So, it's the way it is. Because they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed, so they're more than likely meet Kansas City there, I would imagine. But so Patriots, solidified themselves. Let's see who else. The Saints solidified themselves with a big gut check win over the Ravens, 24-23, and what was a very good performance, I thought, by their defense. Again, they don't have the best defense, but they found a way to get it done. And the Ravens have kind of fallen on tough times. Tough loss for them here now as they dropped to 4-3. So a huge win for them, and the Saints solidified themselves in terms of where they stand in the playoff hunt. The Rams continue to roll 39-10, and they're just gone. They're just going to roll right into the playoffs. And right now, I think they'd be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl because they're just the best team far and away at this point. They're on that top tier right now. I'd say you put the Rams, the Patriots, the Chiefs, and probably the Saints on that top tier right now. There's nobody else up there, I don't think. I think those are your top tier teams right now. I really do. I think those are your teams on that top tier. And then everybody, you got a bunch of teams kind of in the middle, kind of trying to figure out what they are. And then below that is a bunch of teams that are either out of it or just on the fringe. But yeah, they solidify themselves, the Saints. Rams also. I also thought the Chiefs did as well with a 45-10 win over the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. They just torched them. Mahomes was great with 4 more touchdown passes. Great performance by them. They're just rolling. The Bengals have fallen off just like the Ravens have, so now you worry about where they're at as they've come back down to the pile of teams in the mix. Meanwhile, while teams like the Bengals and the Ravens have come back down to earth, teams like the Redskins have soared to the top. Redskins expand to enhance their record to 4-2 with a 20-17 win over the Cowboys at home. A very good win for them. They're very much in the mix. Of all the NFC teams, NFC East teams, they're the ones that's been the most consistent. So they're the ones that are right now looking like the team that could potentially put this thing together. So a big win for them on Sunday, and also a big win for the Texans, who, we talk about teams that are kind of pushed their way into the mix here. The Texans have, while a lot of teams in that division have fallen off, the Texans are right there right now at 4-3. They beat the Jaguars 20-7. The Jaguars have fallen completely off. Who knows what's going to happen there? A lot of people think they might try to get Eli Manning, but they also have Blake Bortles, who they've extended. So who knows what's going to happen there? But Blake Bortles does not look good these last few weeks. And this is a tough run for the Jaguars now because that division has come back to them. The Colts now, you can't even say are out of it. Very much a winnable division for any of those teams right now. And the Texans are very much back in play there after thinking in the beginning of the season we thought they were left for dead. They're very much in play in this division. The Jaguars are kind of right now on the precipice of falling completely off. The Vikings improved their standing 37-17 over the Jets, who, come in with a run, having run 2 games in a row, looking for 3. But Jets were playing very well, and they just got their rear ends handed to them. And they had a chance early in that game, and then just kind of fell right off the cliff for them. So it's a big win for the Vikings. They needed it. They advanced to 4-2-1. Jets dropped to 3-4, so they're hanging on. The Vikings, meanwhile, very much in play, as are the Panthers, who moved up to 4-2 this week with a 21-17 win on the Eagles. A late push by the Panthers, outscored the Eagles 21-0 in the fourth quarter to win that game. The Eagles are struggling. It really isn't any one thing. It's just one thing. One area of the game falters. The other area might play well, but it's kind of like half and half for them. Offense is good, defense is bad. Defense is good, offense is bad. Just can't seem to get it right. And right now, they're hanging by a thread here. And again, because the NFC East has not run away from anybody, they're still very much in play. But again, very, very vulnerable too. So the Eagles drop back. The Buccaneers with a win over the Browns in overtime, 26-23, expand themselves to jump their record to 3-3. So they're very much in play. While the Browns really still are too, because the division isn't a runaway either. But it's a big win for the Buccaneers in terms of that. Dolphins are one of those teams that's come back down to earth, while at the same time the Lions have kind of gotten themselves right where we thought they were, very much in play, over a 32-21 win that moves them to 3-3. Dolphins dropped to 4-3. So Lions very much alive. Dolphins hanging by a thread right now, you'd have to say, after starting off really, really well. Colts and Bills. Colts with a huge 37-5 win over the Bills, but they really should have won. Colts were big favorites here. And I think that the Colts, look, I've always felt like people were sweeping on the Colts. And the problem is the Colts have a lot of injuries to their defense. But if they can work around that and beat some of these teams down the stretch here that they should beat, they could very much be in play, especially given that division. Could very much be in play. So it's a big win for the Colts, and the Bills are just kind of falling off the map. The Chargers pushed themselves forward with a big 2019 win over the Titans. They jumped to 5-2. Titans dropped to 3-4. Again, Titans have very winnable division. Chargers keeping their stock alive, very much so at 5-2. So you have to put them in the middle group of teams that have a very good chance in the AFC. Broncos, Cardinals on Thursday night. Broncos win 45-10 to keep their playoff hopes alive. Cardinals obviously on the outside looking in, but still a big win for the Broncos as they expand themselves to 3-4 to keep their stuff alive. So again, a lot of teams. You got some teams. We talked about the upper tier team, but then you got a bunch of teams in the middle that are right there. The Chargers, the Bears, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Vikings, the Panthers, the Eagles, maybe in the Buccaneers if you think about 3-3. I just consider the Jaguars there at 3-4 and the Texans at 4-3, but Ravens at 4-3. Cowboys, I would say every NFC teams right there, even the Giants, because of the fact that division is not a runaway. Bengals, there's a lot of teams in that middle, and then you got some teams like the Cardinals that are just playing out of it. The Giants would be out of it if they weren't in another division. Bills are out of it. Who else? Not that the Browns are out of it yet. 49ers are out of it. You got those teams that are kind of Raiders are out of it. Those teams are kind of on the outside looking in right now. And then the next couple of weeks, you'll slowly start to eliminate more teams, especially once you get through weeks 8 to about week 10, 11, 12. That's when you usually see that some of these teams that are hanging on drop completely out of the mix. We have one more game that we had missed, the Monday night game. I mentioned the Giants being 1-6, but that's because they lost another game. Tough loss to the Falcons on the road, 23-20. The Falcons are 3-4, so they're very much in place still. Giants 1-6, but again, the division is not away from them yet. But I would say this: if the Giants lose next week, I think they're done. Because I just don't think you can come back. I don't care if the division's still there for 1-7. They got to win this week. That gets them to 2-6, and then maybe they can rattle off a couple games in a row, and they can very much be there. I think 9 wins will probably do it. But they almost need to run the table at this point. But they're still alive. So again, a lot of teams improved their standing. A lot of teams fell back. And you got teams that are kind of figuring things out. Look, the Giants, even though that division's still there for them, are clearly giving up. The Raiders are clearly giving up, but they should have. They're far and away. They've been gone since before week 1. But the Giants are just kind of coming into that. And you'll see some other teams over the next week or so probably decide this too. And then more and more as the weeks go on, even though they'll trade them a patch, you'll see other teams do it too and go maybe younger quarterbacks or younger players, see what they got for next year. That's what you'll see. So the Packers, the Raiders, the Steelers, and the Seahawks all had buys, so they didn't play. So that's your story from week 7. Not a whole lot. Again, it's just more of this, kind of solidifying some the positions for some teams and dropping back for some teams. That's kind of just the way. Some teams drop back, some teams solidify themselves. That's kind of how it goes, and that's what this second portion of the schedule is about. Now, let's take a look back at how we did on our picks for week 7. Can't believe it's already week 7. We had Chiefs over Bengals, which was a win for us. Redskins over Cowboys, which was a win for us as well. Ravens over Saints, that's a loss. Thought the Ravens would put some good numbers up there. Eagles over Panthers, that's a loss. Patriots over Bears, that's a win. And Jets over Vikings, that was my upset pick, and that was a loss. So another 3-3 week. That's kind of what I do in the middle portion of the schedule. So another 3-3 week for me. For week 7. Now, remember, we're going to do 2 weeks worth of picks. We're going to be talking week 8 and week 9. So bear with us here as we do this. Here, so we're going to kind of talk about 2 weeks worth of games. So just bear with me on this one. All right, so that's the story for week 7. Now you move into week 8, and again, that's the final week of that second part of the schedule I'm talking about. This is where a lot of teams, the trade deadline passes. A lot of teams are going to know where they're at, and this is going to be their week to kind of figure it out. And that's a huge week in that regard for a lot of teams here as they try to kind of figure out where they're at. And this is a week where you go after you get to the week 8. After you get through week 8, it's like, okay, where are we at? We're halfway through the season. Where are we at? Are we in it? Are we not in it? What are we going to do? It's a huge week in the NFL. And then going forward in the second half of the season, it's all about just kind of getting yourself in position and making that run. That's what it's about. So a lot of big games on the docket. Here's your run of games for week 8. This Thursday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the NFL Network. 4-3 Dolphins take on the 4-3 Texans in Houston. Then Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, another London game for you from Wembley Stadium on the NFL Network. The 3-4 Eagles take on the 3-4 Jaguars. It's a big game because both those teams hanging on there. Jaguars and Eagles both in divisions that are still winnable, but very much got to start winning some games. So that's a big game, that one, for a lot of reasons, obviously. Now your 1 o'clock window of games. And the Jaguars will be the home team in that game, by the way. Your 1 o'clock window games on CBS. The 3-4 Jets take on the 3-3 Bears from Chicago. 1 o'clock from Eastern on Fox. 3-3 Buccaneers will take on the 4-3 Bengals on the road. That game on Fox. 1 o'clock from Eastern on Fox. The Seattle Seahawks head to Detroit at 3-3 to take on the 3-3 Lions. So a game between 2 3-3 teams. So a big game there. 1 o'clock Houston game on CBS. The Broncos head to Kansas City at 3-4 to take on the 6-1 Chiefs, who are 3-0 at home. So that's a big game there. 1 o'clock Houston game on Fox from MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The 4-2 Redskins will take on the 1-6 Giants. That game to me is a must-win for the Giants. 1 o'clock Houston game on CBS from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, PA. The 2-4-1 Browns will take on the 3-2-1 Steelers in a rematch from earlier this season where the Browns won. The Steelers will push for some revenge. 1 o'clock Houston time on CBS. 4-3 Ravens will take on the 4-2 Panthers in Charlotte, North Carolina. So a big game, that one. Then your 4 o'clock window games on CBS at 5 p.m. Eastern time from Oakland. 2-5 Colts will take on the 1-5 Raiders. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox from LA. The 3-1 Packers will take on the 7-0 Rams. So that's an interesting matchup there. 4:25 p.m. Eastern game on Fox from Glendale, Arizona. The 1-6 49ers will take on the 1-6 Cardinals. That's kind of an awful game, but here's what it is. And then your Sunday night football game on NBC from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC. The 5-1 Saints will take on the 4-2-1 Vikings. So a very good game there, potential playoff matchup there. And then your Monday night game, an old school AFC East matchup between the 5-2 Patriots at the 2-5 Bills, 8:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. And then Falcons, Cowboys, Titans, Chargers, all with buys in Week 7. So let's pick our games for Week 6. A lot of interesting games there. Some games that with some teams have identical records, so they can put their best. They can put themselves in front of that team they're playing if they win them games. So those are always big games. All right, let's do the first game we're going to pick is the Eagle-Jaguar game for one. That's a huge game. Huge game. I think it's going to be a very ugly game because I think the defenses are going to come out and show up. The Jaguars will be very physical on the Eagles. The Eagles will be very physical on the Jaguars. Both teams have struggled offensively at times as well. I think this will be an ugly, more low-scoring type game. I'm going to go with the Eagles here, though, because I feel like the Eagles are closer to figuring their stuff out. I don't know what's happened to the Jaguars. I think the bigger problem for the Jags is the fact that Bortles has just lost it. You know, he never really had it, but they were able to kind of get by with it. Now, about a running game, too much pressure's on him. I think it's hurting them. So I think the Eagles are closer to figuring their things out, and I think they have more options to figure things out. So with that in mind, we'll go with the Eagles over the Jaguars. Let's see what other game I want to pick. Ravens, Panthers, I have to pick that game. Ravens have been struggling. Panthers kind of been going about their business. This should be a close kind of game. Ravens in a year where their offense has really come up much better, and while their defense has improved as well, kind of gone back a little bit to the old Ravens type defenses. Panthers, we know the defense is there. It's really about what kind of offensive team shows up. I predict this would be a close game. But I think the Ravens know this is a very important game for them, especially on the road. They know they have to win this game, try to kind of keep pace with everybody else. So I like the Ravens here to beat the Panthers because I also think the Ravens have offensively have shown themselves to be better than the Panthers this year in terms of what they do. So Ravens over Panthers for me in that one. Saints Vikings I have to pick. That's a great game. Saints defense came up big last week. If the Saints defense comes up like that comes up as big as it did last week with their offense, I think they'll beat the Vikings. However, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Vikings will turn a corner. They're playing better. I like what Cousins is doing. I like what the defense of the Vikings doing. They balance their offensive attack. I think the Vikings should win this game, and I think they will win this game, especially at home. So I'm going with the Vikings over the Saints on Sunday Night Football. Okay, that's 3 games. You got 3 more to pick. I'm not going to pick Patriots Bills. I think that's going to be an awful game. 49ers, Cardinals is awful. Rams, Packers. Now, this could be a blowout game, but with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it will be. Look, the Rams are the best team in the NFL. I'm picking them to win this game. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but I think the Packers are going to give them more of a game than they probably would. Many people would expect them to. Okay, I think they'll do. I think they'll get enough out of defense. I think Aaron Rodgers will really kind of stem the tide in this game. I'm going to pick the Rams, but again, expect the Packers to keep this one close and maybe make you surprised when you look up at the score and see that it's close maybe later in the game than you would have expected. All right. Let's see. What else? What are the game? Browns, Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to blow out the Browns because I think they're mad. But what happened earlier in the year? Redskins, Giants. Let's pick that one. That's going to be my upset pick. Like, I don't know if people will see this as an upset considering the Giants are a home team and many people think they're the better team, even if they haven't shown it. I'm picking the Giants to win, only because of the fact I think with the running game, with Barkley, even with the offensive line being a mess, I think they can get the job done. I think that with the running game, they can put up points. I think they know their backs are against the wall. They know this is their last kind of gasp. And I would expect the Giants to really come out and play because of that and really make an effort and see this as a must-win and understand that it's a must-win. And when they do that, especially at home, they usually come up big. So I think the Giants will find a way to get it done here against the Redskins team, who's played much better than you would expect them to. But they have a lot of deficiencies too, and that's something I think the Giants can exploit. I think there's holes in the defense that they can exploit, and I think defensively, I think the Giants haven't been that bad. I think that's kind of fallen by the wayside with all their offensive struggles. So I like the Giants to beat the Redskins on Sunday. Kind of upset pick of the week. I don't always pick one upset, but I try to. So, and the last game I'm going to pick, we'll go with the Seahawks-Lions game. I'm going to pick Seattle, obviously, with everything that's happened. They had a bye last week, but with everything that's happened, even though it's not a home game, I think there's going to be a little bit extra emotional motivation there. I like the way they've been playing coming out of before the bye and then coming out of the bye. I think hopefully their momentum hasn't been lost, but I love the way they played going into the bye. Lions are playing better as well, but I think the Seahawks at their best are still better than the Lions, and especially defensively. So I'm in a dome. I think in a dome, Seattle's even better than they are anywhere else. So they won't be fazed by it. I think they'll play very well. They can do. I think they do much better offensively in domes. So just like obviously any dome team does. So. Even though they're not really a dome team, the Seahawks they just do better again, like anybody does, really in the dome because you have less elements to deal with. But they're comfortable with it, and I think they'll put up a good amount of points. Detroit's defense leaves a lot to be desired, which has helped the Seahawks too because they are offensively challenged at times. But when your defense isn't that good, they can exploit it. I like the Seahawks over the Lions on Sunday. So my picks for this weekend, week 8 of the NFL season: Eagles over Jaguars, Ravens over Panthers, Vikings over Saints, Rams over Packers, Giants over Redskins, Seahawks over Lions. So that's week 8. Week 9, again, we're doing 2 weeks worth because we will not be around next week. So bear with me on this here as we look at week 9 schedule. That will be the first week of the third portion of the schedule, which is when you start to think about the stretch run, playoff positioning, start to weed out the teams that really aren't contenders. That's what week 9 is about, and there's a lot of teams with buys in week 9, so a lot less. There's a few less games. Bengals, Colts, Giants, Eagles, Cardinals, Jaguars all have buys, so that doesn't leave a lot on the schedule if you think about it. So here's your slate of games for week 9. On Thursday, November 1st, 8:20 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the NFL Network from Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. The 1-5 Raiders, of course, who knows what their record will be. That's the record at this point, but they'll have an extra game on the schedule after this week. 1-5 Raiders will take on the 1-6 49ers. Not a good game, so obviously that one won't be one we pick. 1 o'clock, and then you go to Sunday, November the 4th. Here's your 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern window of games. Again, keep in mind these records are as of right now. Obviously, after this weekend, they'll be changed. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern on Fox from Buffalo, New York. 3-3 Bears at the 2-5 Bills. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern on CBS. 6-1 Chiefs will head to Cleveland to take on the 2-4-1 Browns. On CBS at 1 o'clock Eastern time, 3-4 Jets will head to Miami to take on the 4-3 Dolphins. Also at 1 o'clock Eastern time on Fox, Lions head to Minnesota at 3-3 to take on the 4-2-1 Vikings. Another 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern game on Fox. Falcons head to ran over Maryland at 3-4 to take on the 4-2 Redskins. And your final two 1:00 p.m. Eastern games: 3-3 Buccaneers will take on the 4-2 Panthers from Charlotte, North Carolina on Fox, and then the 3-2-1 Steelers will take on the 4-3 Ravens from Baltimore on CBS. Here's your 4:00 window of games: 4:05 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Texans head to Denver at 4-3 to take on the 3-4 Broncos. Also at 4:05 p.m. Eastern time on CBS, Chargers head to Seattle at 5-2 to take on the 3-3 Seahawks. 4:25 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Rams head to New Orleans at 7-0 to take on the 5-1 Saints. That could be an NFC Championship preview potentially. 8:20 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Packers head to Foxborough at 3-2-1 to take on the 5-2 New England Patriots. And your Monday Night Football game, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN on Monday, November the 5th. From Arlington, Texas, the 3-4 Titans will take on the 3-4 Cowboys. So a lot of interesting games on that slate, some potential heavyweight matchups. Here are my picks for Week 9 here. Obviously, I have to pick the primo Sunday game, which is the Packers and the Patriots. Should be a good game. The key for this, though, is Aaron Rodgers. He probably won't still be 100% healthy by that point. And the Patriots just seem to get better every week, and them being at home. I like the Patriots over the Packers, and what should be I expect it to be like the last 2 weeks of Patriot games, were very high score and very close games, but I think the Patriots will prevail in that game. I feel pretty confident about that. Rams Saints, a potential NFC playoff matchup, potential NFC championship matchup. Look, offensively, both teams will be evenly matched. I think the Rams might even be a little bit better. It's going to be a question of defense, even though the Saints are at home. I like the Rams here because I just don't think the Saints have enough defense, even when they come out to play very hard like they had the last couple of weeks and play really well on defense, or better than they probably should. I just don't think they have enough. So Rams over Saints in that game. Let's see. We have to pick Steelers-Ravens, old school classic rivalry matchup. Again, Ravens haven't been playing well late. We don't know what they'll do this Sunday, but Steelers kind of playing a little bit better. Should be a lot of defense in this game, a lot of grittiness in this game. To me, this game comes down to this: Baltimore is the home team, and I think when push comes to shove, Baltimore is the better team this year. Not just because the Steelers don't have Le'Veon Bell. I just think their defense is better. I think their offense is a little bit better this year. I like the Ravens over the Steelers in that game. Let's see what else. Let's see. Let's pick the Chargers and the Seahawks. Chargers have been playing well. I think they've kind of gone on the radar. They've been playing really good football, especially on offense. Seahawks, again, I think they, going into the bye, they were playing some of their best football on both sides of the football. Again, this is one of those games, just like the Ravens do, where when push comes to shove, you pick the team that you think is better. And not only Seattle at home, much like Baltimore, but they are the better team, in my opinion. And I think that's what it comes down to. I think these teams match up pretty well, but as far as like personnel, but I think the Seahawks are just better. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks over the Chargers. Redskins-Falcons. That one should be a pretty close game. Falcons are playing a little bit better, but they've been tough luck losers for a lot of this season. The Redskins, of course, have, in my opinion, overachieved. They don't knock your socks off on either side of football. The only thing that they have is Alex Smith, who's a calming presence, a very, fundamentally sound, talented quarterback. Controls possessions, doesn't try to force the issue. I like the Redskins in this game only because, again, home team makes a difference, I think, but also because I just think that they don't. I think the Falcons have fallen into a trap of trying to make things happen instead of letting taking what's been given, taking what's given to them. That's very big, I think, and I think that's a huge critical difference in this game. So I like the Redskins over the Falcons. One more game to pick, and this is tough because I could easily pick the Lions and Vikings game. Or I could pick no, I could pick the Lions and the Vikings. No, I think that's the game I'm going to pick, Lions and Vikings. Lions are not always the same team on the road. You know, they like to play in domes. They play better in domes. Vikings, of course, are playing much better of late. Lions on offense, I think, can hang with Minnesota. I think they can take what the defense gives them and put up enough pointing with that defense. But the problem with the Lions is that defensively, I don't think they have enough to contain the Vikings, especially with Cousins playing as well as he is lately. So I like the Vikings in this game. I just think they can put up more points than against the defense than the Lions don't have much of a defense, in my opinion. But it's not terrible, but it's not great either. But yeah, I think that's the difference. I think the Lions don't have as much of a defense as the Vikings do, and that's a key big difference. The Vikings have a very very good defense. The Lions don't have are mediocre at best. So Vikings over Lions for me in that game. So your Week 9 picks: Patriots over Packers, Rams over Saints, Ravens over Steelers, Seahawks over Chargers, Redskins over Falcons, and Vikings over Lions. Those are your Week 9 picks as well as your Week 8 picks. We'll obviously go over all those picks and also talk about all the games in the last couple weeks that the next couple weeks we're going to miss when we get back from our hiatus. Now, that's the NFL, okay? College, obviously the playoff rankings don't come out next week. I kept thinking, I thought they came out earlier. They have come out earlier in the past, but I guess they're later this year, so with that in mind, we don't have much to talk about with college football because, again, as I said, until the playoff rankings come, even though we had a couple weeks, especially in early October, where things were interesting, you know, until the rankings come out, it's very, very hard to talk about. It is. It's very hard. Those rankings will come out next week, so obviously we talk about them after the hiatus. As far as what transpired over this past weekend, was there any big developments, you know, big highlight games? In our hometown Orange, we won a game in overtime, which we probably should have gotten overtime, but they still won a game. So 1 week away from being bowl eligible, so good for them, Syracuse. But I mean, that's more of a hometown thing, so I apologize for being a homer on that one. Let's see here. What any other highlights from week 8? Ohio State lost to Purdue, which is the big highlight. 49-20. That's a huge one. There's all this rumors of Ohio State infighting. We'll see what happens. I you know, the Urban Meyer thing, I just think set everything on a bad way for them. But regardless, no excuses. Tough loss for Ohio State. Now they're going to drop out of the mix, and we'll see if they can get back in it late here in the season here. That's obviously a significant loss. Clemson beats NC State 41-7. That's a big win for them to improve their profile. So they're very much in play. We'll probably move up to 2. The rankings, or be at number 2 in the rankings next week, you'd imagine. LSU beats a very game Mississippi State team, 19-3. Michigan beats Michigan State, 21-7. That's a big win for them to keep things going in the right direction. Oklahoma beat TCU. Any other big surprises? Washington State beat Oregon. So that probably finishes Oregon's chance that's sneaking into a playoff spot. Any other big stuff? Temple beat Cincinnati. Yeah, nothing else. That was so Ohio State really was the big story. That was the big significant one, and you know they still got time. They can play their way back in, but that's obviously a significant loss. This weekend, some interesting matchups. Clemson, Florida State could be good. That one's at noon on ABC. Florida, Georgia is probably the highlight game. We see the afternoon, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Really, whoever team loses that, I think, is out of the potential playoff hunt. They're both 6-1, so another loss. I don't think 2 losses are going to get done this year. I think, you know, you have to be at least, you can't get any more than 1 loss, I think. I think you get beyond that, I think it's going to be too tough. So, Iowa, Penn State on ESPN at 3:30 is not a bad game. Iowa can still play their way into things. I think Penn State's on the outside looking in. Let's see, Washington State, Stanford, not bad. Let's just stay for Syracuse, so that's an interesting game for our hometown team. My hometown team. Oregon, Arizona. So yeah, outside of those games I mentioned, not really a lot of big stuff going on. So week 9, not very big. And then next week for week 10, that should be a big week because that'll be the first week that you go into that week with the playoff rankings. You'll know where you're at if you're a team. So, you know, these matches will take on new meaning and you'll know what you have to do and pretty much and see where you're at and see what you have to do and how many, you know, what you're looking at for wins. And, you know, in week 10, you got West Virginia, Texas, number 13 at number 6. So that's a big game for both those teams in terms of, you know, them staying in play for the playoff rankings. Georgia will be taking on Kentucky, both with 1 loss. That's huge as well. So both very big matchups, those two games. Stanford and Washington. Both those teams I don't think have a chance, but if they want to hang around, they got to win. Let's see what else. Penn State, Michigan, that's huge. More for Michigan than Penn State as far as the playoff rankings go. And then really what I think is probably the game of the season, at least so far. 8-0 Alabama, number 1 at number 4 LSU, 7-1. That's a huge game because if LSU wins that game, okay, barring any shocking, unforeseen things, I think LSU is going to be in the playoffs because they already got a significant profile, and beating Alabama would solidify it in my mind. So that game might be one of that probably the most important game of this season so far. If Alabama beats LSU, then I think they're done. Even though they got a good profile, I think they're done. But if LSU beats Alabama, I think LSU is almost a lock unless they lose out or lose more than one more game for the playoffs. And look, LSU is probably the only team I can see making it at 2 losses. Only team. So that's a huge game. And I think LSU is going to win it. I really do. I made picks on all these other games because they're big and they're highlight games, but I'm just not into them. Because again, to the rankings, I just can't get myself into it. There was a couple weeks in early October I was excited and some games were good, but really into the rankings, I just don't get into it. Well, I'm going to get into it next week. And when you get a game like Alabama LSU, you get into it. So that's going to be a big game. And again, I think LSU is going to pull it off. And if they do that, then that's huge for them because I think that locks it up for them. It's provided that they don't drop more than one more game. So not much going on last weekend except for the Ohio State loss. Not much going on going into this weekend. And then next weekend, you got that big Alabama LSU game, which I think is going to be huge. So that's kind of the story in college football. Not a lot to talk about, but then again, even if there was, we couldn't really do much with that because it's late and we don't want to belabor the point. So, and spend too much time. So, all right. So that's college football. So that's NFL football. We did NFL, we did college. Really quickly before I end on baseball, that's the only thing left. The only thing we got left to do now. Let's take a break from sports for a minute or two and get to some wrestling. We have to acknowledge the Roman Reigns thing. Again, I didn't plan on doing wrestling type, but this is such a big story, and it came out of nowhere. It's really weird sometimes when you read a story. You like, you read like if you're a wrestling fan, you read like a random story. Oh yeah, Roman Reigns wasn't on live events this weekend. I'm like, oh, well, he got family time. That's happened before. Oh, family time off, whatever. Maybe he's got a minor injury, banged up, whatever. You don't think anything of it, usually. You read these things. And when I read that and I heard that, and I was having a conversation with my usual co-host or my former co-host. Well, not former, but like co-host is not here right now. When I was having a conversation with Mike, my co-host, and we were talking about this. I was telling him about, hey, Roman missed some live events, and he goes, oh, well, what do you think's going on? I said, maybe it's banged up. You didn't think anything, but then, the more I talked about it, when I read the stories about it earlier in the day, something was like I don't know. I had an instinct that there was something going on. And when you look at the last few weeks, every report you read about where they were going with the Raw main event scene, with the Universal title, with Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. There's no main event at WrestleMania and Stone. They don't know what they're doing with Roman. They don't know what they're doing with the Shield. They don't know what they're doing with Braun Strowman or Drew McIntyre. Like, so much of that looked like it was uncertain. And it was weird because usually by now, WWE has an idea what they're doing with a lot of these things, especially the main event scene on Raw. If you go back to early part of the summer, you were talking about Roman Reigns versus The Rock. There was all this stuff about that. So it just all went away, and then all of a sudden, it didn't seem like they had any clue what they were going to do at WrestleMania. And you're wondering, well, what's going on? Now you know why. I'm not saying that they knew or anything. Again, this is probably a fairly recent development for obvious reasons. But it's pretty clear that maybe Roman wasn't feeling well, and they knew that something could potentially be up. People have noticed he's been losing weight. And he misses the live events. I think that maybe this, WWE had some idea that there was something going on and they couldn't commit to anything. And that's why there's been so much stuff in flux over these last few weeks in terms of, the Shield guys and Strowman, and they didn't know what to do because they didn't know what was going on. Now they do. And what's going on is horrible. It's sad. And I know there's, Roman gets a lot of hate and he gets booed, and we've said some things, and you don't wish something like that on anybody. You don't. Anybody that reacted like, oh, wow, there goes Vince's pet. Oh, well, no. Keep that garbage out of it. The man is fighting for his life. He has leukemia. There's no need. You got to separate the man from the character. And even if you don't like and even then, it's a TV show. Okay? And when something like this happens, you forget that that's a TV show, and you know that this is a real person standing here telling you that he has cancer, and that he's had it, he was in remission, and now it's back. This is the man that has a wife, he has children. All the other stuff, the booking, whether you like him or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you wish him the best, you pray, you give him well wishes, and you just you be a decent human being. That's what matters. It was a sad thing. It was a rough thing to watch, but God bless him. He did a great job of it, Roman. It was a great speech. The Shield guys, it was a great thing, great moment. And the backstage stuff you saw, it was very emotional. I don't want to get into what happened the rest of the show. We're not going to talk about that tonight. I just want to talk about the big announcement. And that's all I really want to talk about, because that's the most important thing to take from it. It was an emotional roller coaster, though, and it was, and Roman did a great job with it. So kudos to him as far as getting through that speech, and the speech that he gave was amazing. So good for him. And I want to say that to Roman, we wish him well, good health and blessings, and hopefully he'll be back soon. We hope and pray he'll be back soon, and our thoughts are with him, and prayers are with him and his family, and be strong and battle and come back and be healthy again. That's what we hope that happens. And he's obviously a very strong guy, and very well liked guy, and that's something that you've always heard. So we wish him and his family well, and we hope and pray that it'll all work out, and he'll beat this and come back from it. He'll be in remission. He'll come back from it stronger than he was, and he can enjoy a long, happy life, many more years of good health and blessings with his family, and we hope and pray that will be the case. So our thoughts are with Roman and his family during this time, and hope everything works out for them. So, yeah, so our thoughts and prayers go out to him, and hopefully everything works out for him, and everything will work out, and he'll be in remission, he'll come back, and everything will be good. So, so the Roman thing, obviously more important than anything else, as far as wrestling goes and everything else, and really in anything we really talk about tonight, because that's a life and death thing. I mentioned the crown jewel stuff, which, God, to go from the Roman thing to that, it's just like there's no way to really transition, because it's, now there's talk today that they're looking for venues, that it might not happen. John Cena and Daniel Bryan refusing to work. They're still advertising Cena, but apparently they've been told Cena's not going to do it. So lots of things out there. Look, I know they got a lot of money. We've talked about it. I'm going to be very brief here. I know they got money on the line. Okay, I know it looks bad if they pull out, but it's going to look probably even worse if they do this. I don't know what they can do about this to kind of try to save face on both. I don't think you really can save face on both ends. Look, lose the money. It's just not worth it. It really isn't. Move the event, move it to somewhere else. You can make up some of the profits. It might not be as big, but you can make up some of the profits and go from there. I just don't think it's, for obvious reasons, it's not worth it. But even if you want to look at it from just the trivial wrestling type entertainment reasons, do you really want things like potentially Braun Strowman's crowning moment or Shawn Michaels' return from retirement? always affiliated with this. Do you really want that? I wouldn't. Change it up. Those are the trivial, minor reasons. The major reasons are plenty enough. They need to cancel it outright or move it to another venue. Bottom line. And it's looking like they're finally they're finally on the track to doing that. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Crown Jewel will take place while we're on hiatus. We'll obviously talk about it once we get back. We're not going to really do a preview or anything about it, but we'll talk about it when we get back in detail. And obviously, there might be some significant stuff going on there. Now, given everything that's happened, Braun Strowman will be facing Brock Lesnar without Roman Reigns involved in the match. Won't be a triple threat anymore. You got the Shield pretty much broken up after Ambrose's turn last night. So a lot of big things could happen at that event now that we didn't think could happen. It might finally be more than a house show. And we have to crown a Universal Champion. So that will be a more significant show than we probably thought for sure now. So we'll talk about it obviously after the hiatus. All right, so that's all the wrestling stuff I want to touch on. I just thought we should touch on the Roman thing and then briefly mention the Crown Jewel stuff because there's a lot of stuff going on about that today. All right, so that's it. So we took a real detour from sports to do some wrestling. Now we're going to go back to sports to finish up here. We'll talk some baseball. And look, while we've been off since the last time we chatted, we have a World Series matchup, and it's not a surprise. We all figured the Red Sox were going to take it. We all thought the Dodgers had a good chance to take it. I thought the Brewers might put up a more of a fight. Very disappointed the way the Brewers ended that series. Very disappointed. I know they won. They got it to 7, but I'm very disappointed because I felt like the Brewers lost something right around Game 4. They had this as far as as far as National League goes. I thought the Brewers in the first round and in the first 3 or 4 games of the NLCS, I thought they were the best team in the NL. And I thought next to the Red Sox, they were the best team in these playoffs. I like what their pitching staff did, their bullpen did. I thought they were getting nice timely hitting. I really like what I saw from the Brewers, but then something happened. It's almost like something clicked with the Dodgers. It reminds me a lot of what happened in the regular season with the Dodgers, where everything that could go wrong was going wrong, and all of a sudden it just clicked. It clicked, and they just surged and got in. And I think that's what happened in that series. The Dodgers, just everything clicked, and they surged, and they found a way to get it done. And now they go into the playoffs as the NL representative. Red Sox really never looked back against Houston. Took control, just like they did with the Yankees. They lost that one game, but then they took control of the series, and that was that. And it wasn't even close. The Red Sox just found ways to score on good pitching, and that's the thing. And this is what I tell people about throw out the analytics, throw out all that garbage. When it comes down, and don't give me this whole good pitching will beat good hitting thing. Because if you have a good enough offense, because the 2009 Yankees were, people go, they were home runs. No, they weren't. Yes, they hit a lot of home runs, but they weren't trying to hit home runs. They just looked to go up there and drive the ball. They just hit the ball well. And that's what the Red Sox do. They hit the ball well. They take their singles. They take their doubles. They take their triples. They take their stolen. They steal bases. They do things the old way. But it's not like they nibble. It's not like they're a gritty team either. They can be gritty. They can be. But that's not necessarily their style. They just try to score. They do what they can to score. They hit with runners in scoring position. They put guys on base. They don't try to do too much. They take what is given to them, what the pitcher gives them, what the defense gives them. They take what is given to them. They don't try to force the issue. They don't try to drive every ball out of the ballpark. Because, hey, a single is just as good as the home run. That's their motto. And that's the motto that teams have to have. Because if you don't, you're not going to win. I'm sorry. You're not. You're not going to score runs in today's game if you don't have the same mantra as the rest. It's a home run thing. Home runs are great, and you can be tops in home runs and be successful. But that can't be all you have. That can't be all you have. You have to move runners. You have to be able to hit. Contact, put bat on ball, contact. When people are on base, you have to be able to drive in runs. That's what it's about. The Red Sox are showing you what it's really about. I mean, they just proved it that you can toss the analytics out. You can toss the whole, well, good pitching always beats good hitting. It doesn't. It can. A lot of times it does. If the right offense can find a way to get it done, and the Red Sox are, and for all the crap we gave the Red Sox about their bullpen, it's stepping up. It's stepping up. And look, this is probably their window because there's all this talk about Chris Sale, a shoulder situation. He might not, the Red Sox thinking about him being around for 10 years. Boy, I think that ain't going to happen, it looks like. He might not have as long of a career as people thought. So they should win one here while they have the chance. They got a big game out of David Price. Who would have thought David Price would outpitch Justin Verlander? And he did. That was a monster performance by David. And let me just say this: if David Price has even a halfway decent effort in this World Series, he would have turned a lot around for himself. And it just goes to show you, with a good enough offense, I don't care how much you spin the baseball. That's all you heard last playoffs was, people are throwing breaking balls and, the hitters can't catch up with it. No, I don't care how you spin the baseball. A good offense, if they wait back and they're patient and they swing at the right pitches and they're just a good enough offense, they can get the job done. They can get the job done. Red Sox have been impressive. The Dodgers, their ability to rebound has been huge. They got into this World Series. The Red Sox, obviously, with the home field, and the Red Sox used their home field to their advantage tonight as they win 8-4. And one of the big storylines going into tonight's World Series Game 1 was Clayton Kershaw. He pitched better in last postseason. He pitched better in this postseason. Well, then in this game, he did not pitch well. Not at all. He got them through 4 innings. 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, 5 earned runs in 4 innings. Not good. Now, Chris Sale wasn't very good either. But, Chris Sale, you don't know. I mean, obviously, there's been injuries there. Clayton Kershaw, I know, has had some injuries too, but, should pitch better than that. Chris Sale went 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Red Sox bullpen did a tremendous job. Barnes went an inning with a hit. Kelly an inning, nothing, 2 strikeouts. Ryan Brazier, 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run. So he didn't have a great time, but the rest of them all did. Rodriguez went a third of an inning. Nathan Eovaldi an inning. Craig Kimbrel an inning. So they're using the starters to kind of get things through. Red Sox bullpen did great. Dodger bullpen, obviously Kershaw, I mentioned his line. Matson, an inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Urias, 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts. Baez, 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. And then Alex Wood finished up things with an inning and a third, 2 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and 2 strikeouts. Not good. And the Red Sox used every bit of their home field advantage. They played, they launched the ball. They drove the ball. They did their thing. And the Dodgers looked very uncomfortable in their pit, and Kershaw looked very uncomfortable in that kind of ballpark. He's not used to pitching in offensive-based ballparks. I know Dodger Stadium is technically an offensive, but it's not like Fenway Park. It's not like Yankee Stadium. It's just not. Or Baltimore even. That's not. I haven't made a prediction on this World Series because obviously we haven't talked since this World Series got set up. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Red Sox are taking this in 5. I don't think the Dodgers are winning more in a game. I think this is a terrible mismatch. I don't think they have enough pitching. They needed Kershaw to come up big. He did not. Their bullpen's just not good enough until you get to Jansen. Even he's can kind of sometimes be a little bit worrisome. The Red Sox are firing on all cylinders. They're getting great performance out of the back end of their rotation, which the Dodgers, I think, don't have nearly as good of a back end of the rotation when it's right that the Red Sox have. If their bullpen continues to do serviceable amounts of work, then they'll be okay. And I think their lineup's better because I don't think they can hit home runs, but they're not like the Dodgers. That's all they look for. I think the Red Sox will get this done in 5. I don't think they're going to go back to Boston after Game 2. I think the Red Sox will win this in 5. I think it's a total mismatch. I like the Dodgers, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. And Honestly, I thought no matter who got here for the NL, I didn't think it was going to make a difference. Whoever the AL team was going to probably win it, and it was going to probably win it convincingly. I just didn't see any NL team. But Brewers, I thought, were the best equipped to maybe make it a longer series. But I didn't see any NL team that I thought could be whoever the AL team was going to be. I really didn't. I really didn't. And I just don't see the Dodgers pulling this off. You know, tomorrow would be a month. And look, if Price comes out tomorrow and pitches a gem, then he's really, really done something magical, and he'll get that monkey off his back. And look, tomorrow, the big thing for the Dodgers, you have to win tomorrow. If you don't win tomorrow, then this could end up being a sweep. I kid you not, this could end up being a sweep. I'm predicting they'll get at least a game, at least at home. But I could also see it being a sweep depending on how they win tomorrow. Or lose tomorrow, whatever the case may be. They lose tomorrow, depending on how they lose, I could see it being a sweep. I think this is a total mismatch. I really do. I really do. So the Red Sox take World Series Game 1, 8-4. World Series Game 2 will be tomorrow night on Fox. So check your local listings to make sure you check that game out. Should be a very, very good game, that game. You're going to have make sure here yeah, it's Hinyu. I'm going to butcher his name, so I apologize. Hinyu Ryu versus David Price. So Price pitches well tomorrow. Again, there'll be big things for him. Big things for him. Those are your World Series Game 2 pitchers tomorrow. That game comes at you 8:09 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox tomorrow night. So World Series Game 2 tomorrow night. So big game there. All right. So, yeah. So like I said, I don't want to talk too long because it's already – I figured if we could do an hour, that would be good, and we did. So that's good. So we got through everything. I know I rushed through some things, but again, it's late. So, all right. So let me wind down the show now. I'll get you all some stuff at the end of the show, and then that will be it. As always, the show might be always not me to stop interacting with human so can you have your voice heard, send us your feedback, your questions about the show, scheduling the show, topic ideas, breaking news, animated sports, entertainment, wrestling you want us to cover, reactions, opinions, comments, things we talk about on the show, things we said, topic ideas topic ideas related to sports, entertainment, wrestling, we want us to cover. Any of these things you can do by email, Facebook, and Twitter, or you can send us by email, Facebook, or Twitter. You can email us at itspotlight401@gmail.com. You can also follow us and tweet us at itspotlight401. Remember to use the hashtag itspotlight401 for anything to tweet regarding our show. And as always, you can find us on Facebook. Just search for In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook. Make sure you like our fan page once you find it, once you're on it, so you can interact with us and all that good stuff. Again, social media. Please follow us on social media so you get all the latest information about our show, especially when it comes to scheduling. I know I've sucked at it lately, but the idea is that if you follow us on social media, if there's any big scheduling postponements or delays or information you need or any other something you need to know about the show, we post it on there. We haven't been doing it lately, but I'm going to try to do that after the hiatus. We'll be better about that. We also post random stuff on our social media as well. So to have access to all that and more, make sure that you follow us on social media. So follow us on Twitter at itspotlight401. And remember, use the hashtag itspotlight411 for anything you tweet regarding our show or anything you tweet at us. And, of course, find us on Facebook, In the Spotlight 401 on Facebook, what you want to search for. And once you find our fan page, make sure that you like it so you can interact with us and see everything and all that good stuff. You have two ways to keep up the show and look back at classic episodes. You can stream us anytime on YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 401 on YouTube. And you'll have access to every episode ever produced for both Google Plus, YouTube. Google Plus no longer exists, but every episode we produce for Google Plus and YouTube is on there for you to stream anytime you want. Since every episode from mid-October 2015 all up to tonight's episode. Those episodes available for you to stream anytime you want. So if you're interested, make sure you check those episodes out on YouTube. Just search In the Spotlight 401. If streaming's not your thing, maybe you prefer to listen to us on the go or listen to us in general. Maybe you just don't like seeing our ugly mugs on screen. Maybe you're interested in older episodes of the show. If any of this applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes. To search In the Spotlight 401. And when you do, you'll be taking our show pages on both those sites. You have access to every episode we've ever done in the 8 years we've been doing the show. So it's every episode from original Blog Talk Radio one from October 2010 and January 2011. All of our talk show episodes from January 2011 all up to mid-October 2015. And all of our episodes from Google Plus and YouTube, all from mid-October 2015, all up to tonight's current episodes. All those episodes available in audio format for your convenience. All episodes listed from the most recent date, that being tonight, all the way to the oldest, way back in October 2010. So every episode we've ever done in the 8 years we've been doing the show is available for you to listen to anytime you want. So it's every episode from original Blog Talk Radio one from October 2010, January 2011. All of our talk shows from January 2011, all up to mid-October 2015. And all of our Google Plus YouTube episodes mid-October 2015, all up to tonight's current episode. They're all available for you in audio format for your convenience. Every episode ever done in audio format for your convenience. In order from the most recent date, that being tonight's way back to the oldest in October 2010. All those episodes are available for you anytime you want. Maybe you missed an episode, missed a part of an episode, want to check on an episode again, catching up with episodes. Maybe a long-time fan wants to check out an old episode from a few years back, or a new fan wants to check out an episode like that for the first time. If any of that applies to you, or you just prefer listening to us rather than seeing us, if any of that applies to you, check us out on our main host sites, Podbean and iTunes, and search In the Spotlight 411. And Google Plus YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, and Google Plus YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, your ways. Keep with the show and look back at classic episodes. Search In the Spotlight 411. You're going to search for In the Spotlight 411. Shout out to my co-host Mike. Hope everything's going well for him. Hopefully we'll see him back after the hiatus on the show. Hopefully. I'm confident we will, but I'll let you all know more about that when we come back from hiatus. I want to thank myself for another great show. And thank all of you for your continued support and contributions to the show. Thank you so much for watching. To those that will be watching, listening to this later, thank you to you as well. Sorry again for the late start. Thank you for bearing with us tonight and staying up late with us and tuning in. And to those that will be checking this out in archive, thank you for checking it out at all. Again, I do apologize though for the late start. So hopefully we'll be better once we get back from the hiatus. There'll be less stuff to do, that's for sure. This is our last show for 2 weeks. Our next show will be 2 weeks from tonight on November, which will be election night. November the 6th, I believe. Yes, November the 6th. So Tuesday, November the 6th at 10 o'clock from Eastern Time here on YouTube. We'll have a lot to talk about. We have, 2 weeks worth of NFL to talk about, 2 weeks worth of college football to talk about. We'll wrap up the MLB, our MLB discussion. The World Series will be over. Then we'll talk about the World Series, wrap up our MLB season discussion. Any of the sports stuff we have to cover, we will cover. We won't do wrestling or entertainment until Thursday, obviously. We will not start a new format that week. I'll talk more about what's going to be, how we're going to be unveiling everything. I just decided that week is going to be too hard. And I want to try to transition into the new stuff. And it wouldn't work, just kind of going cold turkey right out of the gates. After the hiatus, this wouldn't work. So that week we'll be kind of doing what we've been doing, which is Tuesday we'll do a sports show, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Then that Thursday will be an entertainment and wrestling show, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So, we'll do all the big wrestling stuff on that Thursday, talk about Evolution, Crown Jewel, all the other big wrestling stuff. We have to talk about entertainment. We'll go back over a couple weeks worth of box office stuff. We'll preview the holiday movies. All that we'll do on that Thursday show. The first week of November. So that'll be a big week for us. It'll be a lot to go through, but we'll do it. So that week, no new format that week. Again, that's going to be kind of like a transitional week. And we'll talk more about what's coming up and how we're going to unveil everything that week. So, all right. So with that being said, that's it for tonight. That's it for this week. And that's it for 2 weeks. We will not be back on the air for 2 weeks. So, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, and a great couple weeks here. We'll see you back here 2 weeks from tonight, November the 6th, election night at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Please remember to get out and vote. Also, please remember, if you can, to donate to my wife's fundraiser for the Mastocytosis Foundation. The link to the page is on our show's Facebook page, In the Spotlight 411, so make sure you check that out. And of course, if you haven't already, please, if you can help the victims of Hurricane Michael, please do. Whether it's donating money or volunteering your time, whatever you can do, please do that as well. So please remember all that, and also have a happy and safe Halloween as well. So with all that being said, that's it. I hope you have a great night. We'll see you back here 2 weeks from tonight for our next show on Tuesday, November the 6th, election night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time here on YouTube. Until then, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.